Kia ora, welcome back. Work started today on the country's only privately owned stadium. Bay Park owners say the $10 million speedway will boost Tauranga's local economy by millions of dollars every year and will attract Super 12 rugby and international cricket fixtures.
It's been 6 years since Tauranga had a speedway park. This $10 million stadium will be finished by October and will feature tar-sealed pits, grandstand seating, 3,500 car parks, 60 toilets and extra safety features.
Motorsport has had a problem always in New Zealand with noise and that, but yeah, we're in a new century now, and we're looking at being professional, running it professional, keeping in mind that the public of Tauranga, the houses within the vicinity, we've got to look after them, and that's what we intend to do.
Stock cars, sprint cars and saloons will race at the stadium. Crowd capacity will reach 17,000 and the inner circle has been designed to cater for other major sporting events.
Super 12 rugby, international one-day cricket, but in the same breath also the opportunity for clubs to benefit by having events there, fundraising events and so on, something that is going to help the community. And of course this is the only privately owned stadium in New Zealand, privately funded, not a council stadium.
And that's thanks to this man, the camera-shy $10 million man, Bob Clarkson. He paid for the stadium out of his own pocket after battling resource consent and neighbourhood concerns for half a decade. Opening night during the October long weekend will be called the Oval by the Ocean. Buses will drive spectators from the Waikato and around the bay. $10,000 will be given away on the night. The second meeting will be called Commotion by the Ocean and $20,000 worth of fireworks will be set off. The Speedway will host the South Pacific Saloon Car Championships and other international events.
We are hoping to bring out the Americans and the Australians for a tri-series. Like Australia at the moment have got all the cups and New Zealand's only got the saucers. But we know that if we run a Speedway series with the class of competitor we have in New Zealand, we'll get the cups back and they can have the saucers.
16 speedway events will be held every year at the stadium. Owners are still looking for a major naming sponsor. Lavina Callow, Prime Local News.
Drivers for speeding, while another 253 were stopped for other traffic offences. Bay Park promoters want to turn Australasia's best speedway into a multi-million-dollar sports and entertainment facility. To do so, though, it needs money and is asking Tauranga district ratepayers to fork out for it.
Council's decision makers walked onto the Oval by the Ocean for the first time today. Bay Park's promoters not hesitating in telling the city's mayor that this will soon be the best speedway in the Southern Hemisphere.
How do you think the council would be, could or should be involved in this, or may want to be involved?
We need guidance from the council, we need advice from the council, and we need suggestions from the council as to how they can help us.
Promoters reckon an extra $2 million will turn this $10 million speedway into a sports stadium capable of hosting international rugby with crowds of 25,000 plus.
It's going to be something we believe that the ratepayers and the residents of Tauranga are going to be proud of, because what started as a speedway, it's obvious we need more than a speedway. Tauranga Domain proved that when the Chiefs played there a couple of weeks ago.
Many agree, but not all ratepayers are sporting fanatics and will surely object to paying for the stadium.
Not everybody likes speedway, not everybody likes rugby, so we've got to be sensible about this and say, how can those people that aren't involved in those two sporting codes get entertainment out of this stadium? We believe it's a stadium being built for all purpose, not just rugby or speedway. Hey, Highland Games, seven-a-side rugby, you name it, we'll look at it.
Council's adamant if it does inject money towards the project, it doesn't mean ratepayers will be emptying their pockets.
Can you see ratepayers willing to pay extra money into their rates for a facility like this?
Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily automatically mean extra rates. We have a substantial budget and it's really just a matter of prioritising our existing budget.
Today was just a meeting between council and promoters, but Bay Park's frontrunners say they are running out of time.
You want to build a sports stadium nowadays, you're talking 25 million. I would think council's injection of 10%, what a heck of a saving to the ratepayers. You know, it's incredible. But the opportunity is now, not 5 years down the track.
The stadium will host 16 meetings a season starting in October through till Easter, with a 17,000 person capacity for Speedway alone. Lavina Good, Prime Local News.
In the lead up to Anzac Day, returned servicemen and women were out on the street around the region today selling poppies in preparation for...
The summer motorsport calendar hasn't been the same since the closure of Tauranga's Bay Park Raceway. The return of the full sealed circuit may be a distant dream, but the sights and sounds of Speedway are set to return to Mount Maunganui. Wayne Hay takes a look at the revival of Bay Park.
Engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes, the flags go up.
6 years ago, the pressure from increasing land values saw one of the bastions of New Zealand motorsport given the checkered flag for the final time. Bay Park closed its gates.
They pour through the turns.
It's been a long battle for the Bay of Plenty Speedway Club to rebuild the facility, but it's now a reality thanks to a unique individual.
I'd say a dream coming true. It's always wanted to build a racetrack, and it's happening.
Meet the Tauranga property developer who's had a lifelong love affair with motorsport.
I was racing myself with stock cars, gosh knows, 35 years ago or something. And I'm still keen on the sport, keeps young guys out of trouble.
Clarkson is funding the estimated $15 million price tag from his own pocket, making it New Zealand's only privately owned major sports stadium, which may also include rugby in the next few years.
It started, I suppose, when the old Bay Park originally shut down 6-7 years ago. And there's a band of loyal enthusiasts from the old Speedway. And for 6 years they struggled to try and get what we see on tape today. But without Bob Clarkson, of course, it would never have happened.
Clarkson can be seen at the building site most days, getting his hands dirty, helping construct the stadium, which organisers believe will take Speedway in New Zealand where it's never been before.
Once they see what it's like, they're going to turn up for sure. But a lot of people have a lot of friends, competitors around the country, some from the South Island, they already booked their trip up here for the opening night.
So come Labour weekend, more than 17,000 people will cram into the new Bay Park. For most of them, the memories will be fresh of the old Bay Park, which is just a few hundred metres that way. Or at least it used to be. The new venue, though, is expected to pump up to $10 million a year into the local economy.
Told you I'm nuts. In life, you really, it's achievements, isn't it? I mean, it's not all money making, for goodness sake.
Get ready, petrol heads. Bay Park is back. Wayne Hay, One News.
And it looks very good. That's sport.
Thanks, April.
Well, after the break, Jim says the Mercury's on...
Wishes to stamp the paperwork so the multi-million-dollar Bay Park Speedway can open on time. We meet some of the mayoral candidates for our region in a Prime Local News election special. And no bridle or saddle, it's horse training the natural way. Kia ora, good evening. Leading our bulletin tonight, with just 1 month to go until opening night, Bay Park is yet to receive resource consent for its storm water drain system near the car park. Environment Bay of Plenty today admitted consent hasn't been granted, but sees no problems with having the paperwork rubber stamped by Labour weekend.
With a month to go until opening night, more than 100 builders are still working around the clock to finish the multi-million-dollar speedway, including Bob Clarkson, the man who personally financed the project. All consents apart from storm water drain had been granted. Bay Park's marketing team is confident it will all be sorted for October 20 and admit it's been a nightmare to organise.
If I said extremely, that would be underrating the problems we've had. It is a bureaucratic nightmare to try and get these things through. I understand that there are needs and we have to respect the wishes of the community and the neighbours. However, there are perhaps times where we've wondered whether we're really doing the right thing, whether we should throw it away just through the hassles that were being created.
Yeah, look, it's a lot easier to get married than what it is to get a consent to build a stadium, I can tell you that much.
Tickets for opening night go on sale next month across New Zealand. The stadium will be open to the public for free on the Friday night of Labour weekend.
Because there's so much interest in wanting these tickets, we are going to put them on the market on the 1st of October through post shops throughout New Zealand. Now, they're only going to be 2-night tickets. You cannot buy an individual ticket for the Saturday night or the Sunday night.
On November 17, the Commotion by the Ocean will be held at the Speedway. Promoters are also trying to secure concerts.
Yes, we're optimistic that, again, within the consent, that we will be able to have concerts of various natures, catering to a broad spectrum of the community.
Tickets for the opening weekend will cost adults $40 and for kids $20. So on the 1st of October, you can pick your tickets up from any post shop in New Zealand. Peter Hartford reckons within 60 hours, every ticket will be sold out for opening night. That means in 3 weeks from then, every one of these 15,000 seats will be filled with Speedway fans ready to experience Tauranga's biggest night in decades.
Oh, not only the biggest event for this city, but for Speedway in New Zealand, it'll be the biggest event that has ever happened or will ever happen for Speedway in New Zealand.
All they're praying for now is a month of fine weather. Lavina Good, Prime Local News.
Stock cars will be back at Mount Maunganui this weekend after a break of almost 6 years. The all-new Bay Park Speedway fulfills the dream of one man who sunk a small fortune into the track and stadium.
A commotion by the ocean. The mighty machines of Mount Maunganui are back on track, the all-new Bay Park Speedway. After 6 months of frantic construction, the Speedway opened briefly on Saturday for the first official practice. And it was welcome back for former Bay Park star Maurice Cowling.
Absolutely fabulous to have somewhere to race, and not only to have somewhere to race, we've been waiting for ages for it, but to have somewhere of the quality and the standard of this is just absolutely amazing.
The old Bay Park Speedway fell victim to the population explosion at the Mount. Bulldozed 5 years ago to make way for a housing estate, there was irony a property developer would come to the rescue.
Until you actually come here and see the place, it's hard to imagine that one person could do this.
That person is Bob Clarkson, a multi-millionaire developer who picked up the plans for the new track and poured his personal fortune into clay and concrete, although he's still unsure why.
I think about that many, many times, and I wonder why, actually. Got to a stage in life I want to do something that I want to do, rather than just build industrial buildings, which I normally do. So here we are.
Clarkson's 17,000 capacity stadium is still getting the final touches, but they're touches with which he's spared no expense.
13 to 15 million roughly altogether. Bit of an overrun, but as long as you don't tell my bank manager, I'll be quite happy.
And also happy are the drivers, a world-class speedway track at their doorstep where they can harness their high-octane need for speed.
Definitely faster than anything we've raced on in this country before.
It's got the very good drivey clay on it, and it's there, but we just got to get the ruts out of it.
Mount Maunganui's new Centre for Methanol Madness will fire up with the grand opening this weekend. Jamie Troughton, 3 News.
Commotion by the ocean, love it.
You
Go,
do that
stock car thing.
better than anyone I know. Well done, thank you.
A few months ago, we featured the rebuilding of Tauranga's Bay Park Speedway, 6 years after the old venue closed down. Well, the new stadium has opened its gates for the first time, and as Greg Hay reports, what's risen from the rubble has fans and drivers alike licking their lips.
There's no mistaking that sound. Christmas has come early for fans of this high-octane sport. Bay Park is back, and it's all thanks to the passion and deep pockets of this man.
Always wanted to do it, didn't want to die not doing it, so that's about it.
It's an expensive dream.
What's money?
Bob Clarkson spent $15 million making this place a reality. It's the only privately owned stadium in the country.
If the people are happy, I'll be happy, that's all I can say, really.
Bob Clarkson was in for a good night.
First time I've ever been to a speedway, so it's, you know, awesome action, eh? Really good.
Really missed it over the last 6 years. It's awesome to have it back.
Yeah, I think Bob's going to be the local hero for a little while to come. He's done a great job.
It's taken 7 months to build and seat 17,000 souls, and those sitting in the corners came prepared. The old Bay Park was demolished 6 years ago to make way for residential housing. The roar of V8s and unmistakable smell of methanol vanished from these parts ever since, until last weekend.
Well, Bay Park may be new and improved, but it's good to see some traditions never change. Like the old hot dog on a stick. There you go. The Speedway's just not the same without it.
There were a few clowns behind the wheel. Backstage in the pits, though, dents and damage from earlier carnage are patched up, and the drivers, they just love it.
Really brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Tracked a little bit bumpy there, but I'm sure they'll iron that out.
And it's not just a boys' club either.
It's a women's game too, is it?
Of course it is. I passed half of them.
This oval by the ocean is back in business. Greg Hay, 1 News.
Just before I go, Caulfield Cup champion Ethereal is set to start in the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday week.
Bernie, thank you.
There's no mistaking that sound. Christmas has come early for fans of this high-octane sport. Bay Park is back, and it's all thanks to the passion and deep pockets of this man.
Always wanted to do it, didn't want to die not doing it, so that's about it.
It's an expensive dream.
What's money?
Bob Clarkson spent $15 million making this place a reality. It's the only privately owned stadium in the country.
If the people are happy, I'll be happy, that's all I can say, really.
Bob Clarkson was in for a good night.
First time I've ever been to a speedway, so it's, you know, awesome action, eh? Really good.
Really missed it over the last 6 years. It's awesome to have it back.
Yeah, I think Bob's going to be the local hero for a little while to come. He's done a great job.
It's taken 7 months to build and seat 17,000 souls. And those sitting in the corners came prepared. The roar of V8s and unmistakable smell of methanol vanished from these parts ever since, until last weekend.
Well, Bay Park may be new and improved, but it's good to see some traditions never change. Like the old hot dog on a stick. There you go. The Speedway's just not the same without it.
There were a few clowns behind the wheel. Backstage in the pits, though, dents and damage from earlier carnage are patched up. And the drivers, they just love it.
Really brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Tracked a little bit bumpy there, but I'm sure they'll line that out.
And it's not just a boys' club either.
It's a women's game too, is it?
Of course it is. I passed half of them.
This oval by the ocean is back in business. Greg Hay, One News.